of the hood.
Thank you very much, Trevor. I am, of course, joined by Romeo, manager of the Unicorns of Love. Now, we heard Trevor talk about it a little bit in QuickShot, rather. But what is going through your head when you see your team playing on stage and playing so well?
Today I was super proud of them. I'm usually super stressed because my job is to make sure they arrive alive on stage. Then they belong to Shippy, and then, well, they have to behave and win, you know. But I cannot do anything, and I'm powerless backstage. And it's between like, oh my God, you still have your ultimate, to oh my hell, yeah, we got it. So it's actually a full-time job to be backstage and to be scared for them.
All right, good. Sorry to hear that it's so stressful, but glad to hear that you're so passionate, so involved in the team. Now, Unicorns of Love, you guys have found a ton of rookies recently. You've been bringing them up. We saw it with Veritas, with Exile. We're now seeing it with Cersei and Samix as well. I'm curious, what is it about the Unicorns of Love as a team, as an organization, that allows you to bring this talent up and to find this talent?
I mean, first, congrats to Shippy and Healy and Visitachi, because they have been members of Unicorns from the start, and they are usually the ones scouting people. I think we're just a big family, and we take care of everyone. It worked so far. So we had those new guys coming in and out, and we treated everyone the same. It turned out great. Sometimes it failed a bit. This current batch of players is actually pretty amazing, I have to say. So let's see how far we can get.
All right, well, glad to hear that. They're obviously doing very well, currently undefeated. Now, looking ahead, you guys have Misfits and G2 on the horizon. Do you think you can keep it an undefeated record? How do you think those matchups are going to go?
Just thinking about it makes me super stressed. I have absolutely no clue. So far, scrims we're doing really, really well on scrims, so let's see if we can keep that on stage. I hope for a good 1-1 and then a base race at the end against G2, and then we win. That would be perfect.
All right, well, it's good to know. Yeah, you've got the dreams for the series. We'll see how those pan out in weeks to come. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. We're going to send it over to the analyst desk. Shox, Crepo, VODS, take this one away.
Thank you so much, Dracos. Very nice outfit choice also from Romain. A bit different than what we saw in Oakland, but yeah. In any case, I love
has
how...
to keep his shirt on.
Yeah, he does.
Broadcast.
Rules.
We've talked about this before, Vetti. You can't take it off
I know,
either.
I've tried to pitch it many a times, but if Romain has to do it, I have to do it too, you know?
I want to jump on something he said about it's a really great group of players, and I do think that is something that we hear from the Unicorns almost all the time because they have a good atmosphere, but this results-wise seems to be paying off the most, as we've seen.
I think, especially this year, culture seems to be very important within these teams, because we're looking to kind of thread the needle and look for minor improvements within these teams, because every player that comes in knows the basics, right? They know how to play League of Legends, they know roughly how to like technically play out a game. So you need to make the difference somewhere, and I think team atmosphere is a really good starting point, and that is something the Unicorns have consistently been building. Like while we sometimes joke about macro, no macro, they've been building this culture, and it has been working out.
They certainly have, and as you rightly said, we've been seeing it throughout the LCS. Misfits, initially the intention of Fnatic was to build a full English-speaking lineup. It does seem to me that culture is a more and more important thing.
Yeah, and let's make the difference here. When we say culture, we don't mean friendship necessarily, right? Because that is not something, or is it something that you think is important?
Well, I think if you can get along,
yeah, that's
it gets a lot easier.
Yeah.
But I think
it's not the case in the Castro crew.
No, definitely not. It's all a mirage here. But I think we need to look at just what kind of, it takes a special kind of player and person to fit into that Unicorns. Like, I couldn't see myself in my playing days kind of day one in the gaming house. I walk in and my manager's walking around shirtless with a unicorn hat on. I'd be like, it doesn't really fit. But every player they've drafted so far seems to kind of fit in and really like the surroundings that they have right there.
Yeah, they're doing very well. And if we look back at the series, this is now their 5th straight series win. And if we look at one of the common denominators, that Ivern for Xerxes is one of the things that have brought them so much success game after game.
And Unicorns are improving in the sense that they used to draft unique picks just to draft unique picks, but they're really making them work this year. And now here we see Ivern every game, and we're highlighting this replay because it just shows you adaptation, right? That Ward and Red buff proves to be very useful later on.
It certainly does, because he is predicting that Memento is going to try and punish a typical Ivern jungle path where you would start on red, and he's already predicting it because he's placed that ward down and they're able to react accordingly.
Yeah, and even if nobody shows it, obviously there's the information. So Xerxes is so tried and tested on this pick, also because Unicorns of Love give him the freedom to try these weird picks out in scrims, because very often when something's not meta, teams will just stick to whatever is meta in the scrim environment. But Unicorns have come out and said it. teams playing against the Unicorns have come out and said that they can play whatever they want. And that means that even when things go wrong, like right here when Samuels dies, this team knows the limits of this champion much better than anybody else. Just watch Hylissang dive back into a full HP minion wave, which you should never do unless you know exactly what you're doing. Get a shield from Ivory. He's going to flash in, pop that shield, and kill Hustlin. Like, I didn't even see a kill possible here, and they just know exactly the limits of this champion.
They certainly do, and it just brings testament again to the synergy and teamwork that we see time and time again from this Unicorns of Love lineup, because in a situation like that, the majority of teams, even Crepper, you said it yourself, you'd probably back off, you'd accept the loss, and you'd try and move on. But the Unicorns are saying, you know what, we can fight, and everyone's like, let's just do it. They force the play, they make it happen, and that's a large part of why we saw so many fights in this game, and a part of why we saw a lot of back and forth. But it's great to see a very fantastic playstyle from the Unicorns that is working in.
Yeah, and the whole reason that we still highlight some negatives sometimes is because we want to see them go to the next level.
Yeah,
where we need
do.
more consistency. And a lot of people think it's like false criticism for the Unicorns, but these guys are now a 5-0 team. You can start criticizing them a little harder in terms of the details, because if they ever want to make it internationally, like they need to switch up the macro play.
Auckland.
Okay, if they want to make it again internationally.
I mean, this is the important thing, right? When we look at the Unicorns, we think this is a team that we is now consider one of the best in Europe, right? Especially when you consider their standings. So we have to be critical. We have to look at how they can be the best.
How can they be the best? The best in the series, according to us, player of the series was Exile. No, I didn't say it. He's been doing really, really well. And before we go, the only thing I want to ask you guys is that 5-0, they are now the Unicorns of Love. They've beaten every single team in Group B. They've beaten the Giants in Group A. What team can't they beat in Group A, Thaddeus?
G2. I think G2 will punish the mistakes very heavily that we have seen from the Unicorns. They might seem like small mistakes, but for a team like G2, they are big windows of opportunity.
So no other team can beat them?
On paper, like, it depends on the... I don't know when they play Fnatic. The progression for Fnatic could be big. The current Fnatic probably won't beat them. Misfits stand at maybe a chance, but Unicorns definitely is the favorite in all matchups except G2, which... Yeah, it means top 2 team.
That does mean a top 2 team, and that is one of the best, I think, predictions we've been able to do about them in the beginning of the season since they've started in the LCS. Fantastic feat. The Unicorns of Love, they are our first winners of the night, and we'll find out who will join them when G2 takes on H2K in a best of 3 right after the break. See you in 3.5.
You see, it's going to pop in a second.
Corky already.
As well. Here comes Knight. Knight's got the stun. The bomb blows up, and Knight gets first blood from Samex. Where's Exile? That's not going to be in trouble. Barrage. Boom!
Oh no.
Here comes Hilly and Samex. Memento's the target. Teleport comes down from Flaxish. Memento sidesteps, uses the collateral damage to put some distance. Hustlin looks to root down Hilly. Hilly's gobbled up Samex, and it's a turnaround. Giants with a double kill.
I get the low stuff.
Ridiculous.
That's game.
Unicorns of Love are destroying Giants' base. There is simply no one left to defend. The Unicorns of Love destroy